Good morning, folks. This is Tim Ealer. Today is Monday, the 29th of September, 2025. Hope you all doing well today. All right, let's get started on the tropics here. We have Imelda out here, and we have Humberto. Imelda is forecast to generally move in this direction, make a sharp right turn. Humberto more like this, okay? And you can see here that there's still a bunch of dry air getting into the circulation around the back end of the system, but a lot of moisture being pushed up the north here. Um, we look at infrared satellite view here. That was the mid-level water vapor. You can see Humberto might be feeling some little bit of shear from the west from Imelda, impacting the circulation a little bit. Let's take a closer look here. See, not as quite as much outflow on the eastern side. Western side isn't is on the eastern side. Kind of a sharp demarcation there. But regardless, it's still a pretty powerful storm. Looks like it's still undergoing some internal changes. Doesn't look like it's completed its eyewall replacement cycle yet. So if we look at Imelda here, zoomed in, got a lot of moisture with it, but just looks asymmetrical still. But a lot of rainfall going on in this area here today. So a couple days ago, we thought that Imelda might hit the Continental U S. That's no longer the case, thank goodness. But now we got to look out for Bermuda, you know. So um, let's take a look at the National Hurricane Center update. There should be another one out here shortly at 5 a.m., but there's a 2 a.m. update. 45 mile per hour tropical storm moving to the north at 8 miles an hour. Humberto moving to the northwest at 140 mile per hour hurricane. I won't be surprised if it's a little bit weaker than the next advisory at 5 a.m. Here are the key messages for Humberto. High surf and light threatening rip current. So the biggest threat for the Caribbean, Bahamas, and Bermuda. Tropical storm watch is in effect for Bermuda as well, as they may be impacted by tropical storm force winds as it moves um, to the west and northwest. The center does anyway. These are tropical storm force wind probabilities for Humberto for Bermuda. It's kind of merged together with Imelda here, but this is we're talking about Humberto right now. Pretty good chance as of right now to get tropical storm force winds as it passes to the west. Not out of the realm of possibility to have up to 60 mile per hour winds as it passes. Right now, 40-50% chance of that happening. So, and hurricane force winds are not out of the question either. However, there's a low probability. Key messages for Tropical Storm Imelda. There's mudfall, mudslides are possible in Cuba, Bahamas, flash and urban flooding. Coastal Carolina, heavy rainfall, flash and urban flooding are possible through Tuesday. Swells and surf, honestly, are probably the biggest threat, and rainfall in the Caribbean from Imelda as of right now. There's a surface wind field from Imelda. You see most of the highest winds are to the right of the circulation. Tropical storm warning is still in effect for the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, etc. This is the latest cone as of 2 a.m. You can see it's Bermuda Square in the middle of it between Wednesday and Thursday, possibly passing directly overhead as a hurricane. And you see it's not forecast to become a hurricane until it curves here to the right. And you can see the cone is, even if it deviated to the left, the circulation is pretty small. So impacts to the U.S. as far as direct impacts will be minimal. This is the rainfall expected um, associated with Imelda. As of 1:35 a.m. today, highest rainfall amounts the next couple days concentrated the northern Bahamas up into coastal Carolinas, and of course eventually Bermuda and the open water surrounding that area. Rip currents, we talked about that. High rip current risk all along the East Coast, up to Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. Tomorrow, pretty much the same thing. Lots of swells. Rip currents do not go in the water if you're on the East Coast. Okay. I showed you this yesterday. This is one of the models showing what's happening with Imelda and Humberto here. This is European Ensemble. You have Imelda here, Humberto here. This is a 500 millibar height anomaly, high pressure to the north of Humberto, steering it generally this way, right? This map looks a little skewed because of the way the geography is, but you get the idea here. Move through time. Humberto and Imelda get pretty close. Imelda feels the weakness that's developed by Humberto and moves directly over Bermuda. Now that's not definitely going to happen, but you can see it kind of merges with another low pressure, becomes maybe extratropical at that point, and isn't really Imelda anymore. But and then it's gone. These are spaghetti models. I'm going to go through these real quickly. You can see, this is the Google DeepMind showing Imelda turning to the right, Humberto, Imelda accelerating out to sea here and curving to the north. Same thing with the other DeepMind model. This is the European. Same thing. There's a few members that want to hang it back, but they have like 51 members, so full probability there. This is the GFS, the GFS ensembles. So you see what's happening here. They're all curving out to sea. When we look at the radar associated with Imelda, rainfall, right? Streaming to the north here, right off the coast, Carolinas. All right. So that's really the biggest threat. We have some rainfall pushing on shore, maybe a boundary setting up here, right on shore in Florida, which is interesting. But this moisture will continue to stream northward until this makes its turn. There's a lot of diffluence aloft, divergence aloft, and with some cooler, drier air at the surface, the moisture is streaming northward here and overriding this lower levels. You can almost see the circulation associated with Imelda here. If we go to the regular radar, let me see if I can pull it up. Can't really see it like this. You can see the moisture here and rainfall. So speaking of rainfall, let's take a look at the excessive rainfall outlook today. Take this off. Through 12Z today, a large portion of the southeast and Florida coastline. And this is from 12Z today till 12Z tomorrow. Slight risk along the Carolina coast here, pushing into parts of Georgia, most of the rest of South Carolina, North Carolina, and the Florida coast. That slight risk moves a little bit further north, and with the marginal risk surrounding it. Day 4, not showing any risk at all for the continental U.S. Day 5, not showing anything at all either. That's crazy. As far as severe weather for the continental U.S. today, just general thunderstorms, guys. Not a lot going on, right? For tomorrow, general thunderstorms. And for Wednesday, just general thunderstorms along the east, northwest coastline here. So that's good news, right? It is. So, and again, we have Humberto out here and Imelda. Next, I'm going to go over the future temps and climate outlook for the continental U.S. So, this is the 500 millbar flow. This is generally what we look for to depict high and low pressures in the mid-levels of the atmosphere and helps us determine mean flow in general. You see Humberto and Imelda off to the right here off the southeast coast. Once they get out of the way there, mid-level high builds over the southeast and eastern part of the U.S. with troughs building in over the west, ejecting over the Rockies, which eventually bring cooler and drier than normal temps to the western part of the U.S. with good chances of being a little bit above normal in some parts of the eastern and southeast, right? We get a little further out, it's highly uncertain, right? But if you look at the 925 millibar, which is closer to the surface, you see what's happening here. Imelda and Humberto both without the sea. High pressure in general builds over the east. Okay, it's hard to really see the flow out in the Mountain West because just mountains really have a lot of microclimates out there. General flow from the south here all the way up at the low levels, so we have enhanced moisture going up this way and along the southeast here. But in general, high pressure centered at the low levels right over the eastern U.S. And that continues for most of the period. In May, break down some, but that Easter, it's interesting how it just maintained itself really for most of the period, with maybe a cold front trying to make it through to the end there. far as temps go, overall, not too hot, just in Texas and desert Southwest and in the Midwest, up in northern high plains. Shifting, warmer temps shifting eastward slowly as that cold front makes it south, right? But it really doesn't make a push until the end of the period, quite getting warm again for most of the good portion of the U.S., except for up here in the Northeast and in the northern high plains. You can see it looks like a cold front trying to push through towards the end of the period here. As far as moisture goes, this is a 24-hour QPF. Moisture associated with Imelda and Humberto over the west here. Go through time. See enhanced moisture here in the southeast, return flow up into the Midwest. And that increases as troughs move through, right? Maybe some precip towards the end of the period here in the Northeast, but remaining quite dry. And then you get towards the end, it's highly uncertain at this point, so we'll keep looking at that as time goes on. As far as the global tropics outlook, another outlook will be issued tomorrow. 20% chance of development this week. As of right now for this week on the Atlantic and East Pacific, 40% chance as well. And then shifting to the west and the Gulf of Mexico and surrounding waters of the Eastern Pacific as well. As far as climate goes, temperature expect to be above normal for the good portion of the most of the country east of the Rockies. Okay, expected to be either at or below normal for west of there. Pretty much the same thing for day 8 through 10, which is 8 through 14. Excuse me. Then we look at precip chances, where we talked about along the southeast coast, high plains, parts of the upper Midwest, dry in the Ohio Valley and Northeast and along the West Coast. Chances are equal of being either dry or wet, wetter than normal for a good portion of the country, and up to 8 to 14 days from now, upper Midwest, high plains, and the Southeast still higher than normal chances being have above normal precip, and the Northeast being drier than normal once again. That's all I got, guys, for today. I'm glad that Imelda is not impacting the continental U.S. directly, but we still have to keep our friends in Bermuda in mind, and we're going to continue to talk about these two systems until there's no threat to land. Have a great day.